Pungi started off as a very interesting idea. So I had never had a idea of actually putting my name, putting this as a name. I had actually not thought of this at all. So it happened just like that. So I think I started my first poem in say 2011. Physics class was ongoing, and then I started my first poem during physics class because I was bored as shit about this. And I started to write, and I was typically writing very philosophical poems inspired by Kanakadasa. So, ನೀ ಮಾಯೆಯೊಳಗು ನಿನ್ನೊಳು ಮಾಯೆಯು ಸಿಹಿಯು ಸಕ್ಕರೆಯೊಳಗು ಸಕ್ಕರೆಯು ಸಿಹಿಯು. So, though that was a poem that was there in Standard 7. And I was very much in awe of that poem. And for me, I think I have not really gone too deep into Dasa Sahitya, but this had stayed with me for a very long time and still continues to stay with me. My first poem, people ask like, "Are you Devdas?" Because that's the first association they used to make with poetry, because everybody is like, okay, people who are in love or lost their love is the only one who's getting to write poetry. But I was writing about philosophy. I told them that's not the Dasa that I want to be. If I have to be, I'll be like the Dasa Sahitya people in southern Karnataka. So that was the background for Dasa. And Pungi had a very different this thing. So I don't know, very long ago, if people knew about me, they know that I was into a lot of pranks. I used to make a lot of prank calls with different phone numbers. So when I was in college, I had one phone, but then multiple SIM cards. Because after 3 months, the SIM card used to be it was free for 3 months, and basically not recharge it. Somebody else used to give me the SIM card. They used to buy in bulk and give it to me, and I used to call people and basically prank them. And a lot of interesting pranks have been made to a lot of people, and through basic voice changes, through tone changes, talking like an Indian talking like somebody else. So this was ongoing, and a lot of times it's got me in trouble also. So that was where the Pungi part came in, saying, very pungtane. This guy is always into pranking. So Pungi Dasa came there, and the gate, and it was a very different, very unique name. So Pungi is also the snake charmer's instrument. So Pungi, now over a period of time, the name is actually matured into a twin meaning. So when I started, I still used to write with two meanings. One is the actual one that is there inside. So just like the snake charmer's instrument relies heavily on motion to control the snake rather than the sound. The sound is irrelevant. But everybody, considers that the sound is actually making the snake move. So the instrument, the Pungi, so when you basically, the sound that is used to control. So there's always a twin association, twin meaning for something that is single. So there's always something bigger happening. So that's the idea that's matured into. And now the Dasa is also something like a slave. So the idea I don't exist, or Sunil Satyendra is not the one that is writing, but then Pungi Dasa is a separate entity that comes to him and writes these poems, because over a period of years I've written more than 5,000 plus poems. So I get into a different zone when I'm basically writing, and it feels like somebody else, or there's a force that comes through me and writes it. So that's the agenda of Pungi Dasa. So now that's the name. But yeah, I think over a period of time, Pungi has really caught on, especially over the last 6 to 7 years, because people have been associating me with writing. And and I've had a great connection with people because I've used the name Pungi, because it's very different. It's very much a thing that triggers a lot of laughter, and specifically people who are like, oh, every time I go and talk to people, I'm like, hi, I'm Sunil, you can call me Pungi. Automatically opens a chain of conversation. People are really able to, people are able to come back to me. So yeah, that's how it stuck. So majority of the times, it's only when people call me Sunil, I know that they're angry, or they're somebody who very new to me. So that's the only time I know for sure that people are angry with me. So I called by Pungi. As long as I know that people are calling me, and I don't think the names matter, because I've had a lot of names from childhood until now, those names have been associated with me. So I don't know, Arshita, if I told you something that's very interesting, but then this is the story with Pungi.
So you were telling me that you're more of a prankster. So, and I also see a very serious side of you. So on a regular basis, what are you as a person? Are you very serious, or are you more of a prankster, easygoing person?
Yeah, I tell people, don't judge me by the number of revolutions the sun has taken around, so the earth has taken around the sun to judge my age. So I can be somebody who's a 5-year-old in the same conversation, somebody who's an 80-year-old in the same conversation, and somebody who's 30 years old essentially in the same conversation as well. So age is a very wrong construction for us to use in terms of my personality as such. Yeah, I have experiences that I've had, that put me in somebody maybe around their early 60s may not have had these experiences. I've had such experiences, but then somebody who's 15 would have had experiences that I have not had. So I have a very interesting thought process. But I think, yeah, it depends on the people. Very, very few people get to see the serious side. I think everybody by default gets to see the fun side. Yeah. So if you've seen the serious one, then yeah, you've been privileged.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, today my sister was eating rasgulla, and I was like, something is stuck on your, just that upper portion between the nose and the lip. And then I was telling her it's on this side, it's on that side, making all sorts of weird faces, and she was like contorting her face to get that off. While in reality, there was nothing there.
Okay.
So these are some pranks, and then some pranks have been like, I changed voices, called people, right? So there was then this old telephone which right now everybody is on Skype, Teams, etc., etc. You can't do this. But then there was hard phones and hard landline phones, and basically you had to call an extension number and get through to people, and the who's calling also would not be visible. So I called a German voice and scolded a few people saying, you're not doing good work, or somebody was very tensed, and I used the Japanese, Japanese tone, and then like, hello, Hamisha, how are you? Today it's not working for you. And then he was like fully, scared, saying, it's not working. Very crazy experiences with pranking. And sometimes I called somebody, and apparently I'd made a voice that was constructed to be somebody from, somebody as a transgender. And the other side was like, I will call the police and I will inform that you are harassing us. To my mom, you talk to my mom. And then I was like, I shouldn't break role, because if I break role, then I'll get scammed. I was like, I still maintained the whole voice throughout the entire conversation. But then next, after cutting the call, I called back and saying, Santosh, sorry for the prank. So I was afraid that somebody will go to the police station, because that fellow sounded like he was that mad pissed.
Okay.
So, yeah, some crazy stories with pranking, and especially in the office, right? So big time prank stories. And I keep doing this. I keep acting very kiddish in terms of making horribly bad poor jokes. So yeah, I was like, yeah, what's the connection between your phone not getting connected to the others and your washing powder? So both places, it is good. Like when you call somebody and they don't say kare madi, and your washing powder is also like, you matte kare madi, we'll wash it off, matte kare madi.
It took me a while to understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah.
These are pun jokes. So again, some people are like, just because you make jokes with pun, you're P-U-N-G. It's not like that. It works in a different tone. But yeah, I am very not serious a person. I'm like, what's the use of being serious? Ek hi to zindagi hai, so you have to just be chill and get on with life. So I find humor in the worst of places.
Okay. Is there any place, any situation you actually made a poor joke in a very bad situation and people didn't accept it?
So yeah, a lot of times I don't
What
think
was
the
the
podcast.
worst place that you ever did one such joke?
No, I think somebody was uh, actually what happened was I don't think this is actually that. My granny, she was in the ICU. So she had a dialysis and there was a problem and she was admitted in the ICU and this is the area of masks, right? So I was wearing a mask and then and I wear spectacles. So every time I get into that, it becomes very cloggy. And I think it was the first wave or somewhere in that line. And I went into the ICU and then I don't think a pandemic was not there at all. I think this was not the clogging scene. So I went in. I'm very very nervous when I go to hospitals because I don't know, I get a very weird vibe with higher hospitals. I don't like going to that place. So I had to go and then I had to give her food and other things. And since ICU it was not allowed, they're like you go on. My mom went and she came back and I went to the ICU. Apparently, like there's a bisection between this place, and I went there. I like everybody looks the same. Everybody's in the same. I was like, I don't know which is my Aji. So I asked there's a reception inside the ICU, and then I went there and where is this Madravai? And then just when I asked, I heard a voice from behind saying Sunil, bye. So I turned around and naturally went to my Aji was there. So I went to somebody and they're like, hi Aji, how are you? How's dialysis? And then Aji is not able to talk because like they had an oxygen mask on and the Aji looked very similar in build with my Aji. And then, I was like, how did the dialysis go and stuff like that. This was not my Aji. I got to know about it when, my Aji called from the other side. And this Aji was having the shock of her life. Who is this fellow who is coming and saying he's my grandson? She's like, ನೀನ್ ಯಾರು? ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಅಜ್ಜಿ ನೀನ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಮರ್ತೇ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಂತ. Ajji, I think shit her pants that time. So and she's like, I don't know who you are, and she's talking through the oxygen mask, and I'm not able to understand what shit is happening. I am like, yeah, Tata is on the other. Tata is coming later. I've got you, Mosrana. Like even more freaked out. And I am like, okay, started mumbling something and she started moving and I'm like, okay, maybe something. I'm like, okay, let me go call the Ayama or whoever is in charge of whatever you call them, like the lady or uncle in charge of looking after these patients. And then I come out and to my right I look and my Aji is like, hi, somebody else is ICU and talking to them. I was like, oh shit, I thought that was you all along. And then I came outside and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not able to control my laughter. It is an ICU and I'm like laughing the shit out of that place. I was like, I could not contain my smile. People coming into the ICU are like, so like they are also serious and the people who are coming there are also serious. So all puns intended. So when I go out, I'm laughing and I have a very strong smile on my face. And even like people who are looking at you, they're looking very weird. I'm like, why the hell is this fellow laughing? So yeah, and they're like, yeah, they were flabbergasted. So
The other worst part of this is the other old lady would have thought, oh my god, maybe I have a memory loss.
yeah, the other lady is like, who is this fellow? Like now I have to give my asti to this one also. ये तो मेरा नाजायज मम्मा का, who is this illegal guy? My God, I think that was the most humorous place because I went in very scared because my Aji is in a bad shape. So I went in very scared, but then the output was something legendary.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the curious case of the mistaken identity.
And it's so funny that you couldn't recognize your own granny.
No, the point was like my granny was like, even when I moved to the other side, I was like, I don't know what my granny was saying because she was like saying something and I am here something else. I was like, I was in a state of anxiety when I came in, and then I'm like, I cannot control my laughter getting out. So they were of a similar build. Height-wise, they were of a similar build, and like the very similar. The other thing is like your eyes and other things are obscured by the cap on their head and the oxygen mask. I was like, I don't know who am I even talking to, and I'm like, first of all, I'm not the best person to be in a hospital and other stuff. So I'm like very weird, Stacy. It is, yeah, it was an experience I think I'll never forget.
So when you suddenly started laughing, how did your real Ajji started feeling that is
Real,
in
real,
ICU and she
real
was
Ajit,
expecting some
real
sympathy
Ajit,
and empathy and
real Ajit got to know about this only after she was out of the first person who got to know about this was my mom and my grandpa. They were like, "Why is this fellow laughing?"
okay.
And then I had to tell them, and they started laughing. And ICU, like there are 10 other, like eating wise, there are like 20, 30 other people who are looking at their own patients, and then they were like, "Oh, why this?" It was a very, very interesting situation.
Okay. You might have sounded very bad to all the people waiting outside the ICU.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Very,
You
very
would have
bad. It's like,
sounded like a sadist who is happy that someone's been in that position.
they were like, yeah, like, why is this person laughing?
Is there any other funny experiences like this that you have had recently?
I don't like. I have to like really look back and find out. But there will be certain like amazing incidents, and I think by default, no, when somebody has a very bad fall, you'll be like, oh, you start laughing, and then you'll go and help them later. That has happened, I think. Yeah, it's happened when I had to write an exam. When I think it was personally funny for everybody else except for, I was like, chalta hai. So just before I reached the exam, like last minute, everybody is basically talking about so what to read, what not to read, what other questions. I was busy cleaning crow shit that was fallen on my this thing. What is that? T-shirt, and I had no other T-shirt, and the school also had no spare T-shirt for somebody who's like that big. I was a big guy. I still am a big guy. So there was no spare T-shirt, so I had to write the ninth standard exam. I think ninth standard some exam with a crochet on my school dress. Yeah,
Okay. Did it
yeah.
bother
So
you during the exam that you're sitting in that way and you're writing, or very totally cool about it?
no, I was totally cool about it. Like there are many places where uh, the thing was like it was smelling, so I was okay with that. Not for others, yeah, but some weird, like very nice.